want to understand how to control desires. How to control your desires.
Why do you want to control desires?
Like I feel like it's not the most productive desire sometimes.
Hmm?
Some of my desires are not very productive.
If your desires are not productive, why are they there at all?
Like a
So must
desire.
must you not know?
Sorry.
Must you not know why the desires are there? If instead of knowing desire, you proceed to quell them or suppress them, would that help? Hmm? So, why does desire exist at all? And who is desirous? What does he really want? And why, in wisdom literature, spiritual literature, has usually desire been castigated, reviled? Why?
What was that question?
Hmm?
What was your question?
The question is, why does desire exist at all? And why has it been said that desire is a problem?
Because it's a distraction from a higher purpose.
From a higher purpose. So, who is desirous and why doesn't he know the higher purpose? There is somebody who is desirous, right? The wise one just now said that the higher purpose is more important. And there is someone within who calls her own purposes as more important than the higher purpose. Who is that within? And who is the one who knows the higher purpose? Desire exists only to the one who feels little or incomplete. If you are fulfilled, obviously desire cannot exist. There is something within, somebody within, who never quite feels fulfilled. That one within is the desirous one. And because she has called herself as the incomplete one, hence her assessment of her condition is also incomplete. Not only has she called herself as incomplete, she has also assessed her situation incompletely. So, to take care of her incompleteness, the one she targets is also not accurate. Are you getting it? Deep within is sitting someone who keeps on feeling inadequate, compromised, limited. So the only option he sees is gaining something from outside, getting something from outside. This urge to get something from outside, to change, to be better, to acquire or achieve is called desire. It can occur only when, first of all, you feel that you lack in something. Now, how did you come to be identified with the one who lacks in something? How did it happen that a feeling of littleness, or incompleteness become so very powerful on you. If we inquire, it happens in two ways. The first way is biological. The body that is born limited and keeps feeling limited. It is dependent on the world. It sees the world as much bigger than itself. It sees itself as powerless. The little kid is born with the feeling of inadequacy. And then, as she moves through life, there is a lot of training, a lot of absorption of various messages from society, family, education, industry, and most of those messages come from points of incompletion and carry messages, carry content that convinces the other of her incompletion. You are told to become something, you are told to change and improve, you are told to acquire, you are told to reach particular destinations. So, the feeling of not being whole becomes stronger and stronger. You anyway had the tendency to not exist wholly, and that tendency is further magnified by, validated by the various social messages that we absorb. The result is that there is almost complete identification with incompleteness. Who am I? The one who is little, unworthy, undeserving in so many aspects. We may not say that in so many words, because putting that forth bluntly is humiliating, insulting. So we express that indirectly. We say, I want more money. We say, I want that, I want that. A little bit more of everything, a bigger house, more knowledge, more respectability. All of that is nothing but an expression of the false message that has been internalized and accepted. One has to see the falseness of that message, one has to see the result of accepting that message, and then the very center from where desires keep springing up becomes weak. Then it no more has the power to keep dictating terms to the organism. Are you getting it? As long as your life is founded on motivation, ambition, and the concept of progress, it is inevitable that you will keep desiring and remain motivated by, fueled by desires alone. It's not a good state to be in. You work, but you don't work out of your fullness. You work in order to escape being called a nobody. That's no good way to work, you know. You move, but you don't move because you are joyful. You move because you are scared. Your movement never has dance in it. Your movement never has a careful purposelessness in it. The movement is always motivated. The movement is always towards a particular goal. You feel purposeful. You feel as if you have something to live by and live for. But all that is just internal misery. You are not being left alone. You are always being supervised by an internal cop. And he is always asking, have you done the right thing? Have you made up for your deficiencies? Are you moving in the right direction? You are not being left free. You cannot fly. You have been constrained to move on a track, almost like a train on a railway track. Now you can move quite fast. There are trains who move at 300 miles an hour. But would you call that speed as an expression of freedom and joy? No, there is no freedom there. Doesn't matter what kind of speed the train is able to take. Its movement is predetermined. It's slavery.
Why is freedom so important? Why is freedom so important?
It's not important if you are happy with slavery. It depends on you. Freedom is important because man suffers in bondage. If you do not suffer in bondage, then bondage is all right. Unfortunately, there are many who do not suffer in bondage. They have become so very unconscious by remaining in bondage that they do not even suffer now. Their suffering has become so deep that the conscious mind cannot even detect the internal suffering. So they walk, they move about as if they are all right. And if you ask them, is there something wrong with you? Is there a problem with your life? They'll say, what do you mean? I'm happy, I'm all right, I'm nice. But if you look closely at their lives, or if they look closely at their lives, they will see suffering present in many, many forms. Decorated forms, forms with other names, colorful forms, deceptive forms, pleasing forms, but forms nevertheless of suffering. Even if suffering takes a very glowing, resplendent, and happy form, it is still nothing but suffering.
So I want to get out of this suffering into freedom, right? But I have some commitments at the moment. Like, what would be the best kind of path to move towards this freedom?
You don't need to move towards freedom. Firstly, you probably need to ask, how have I espoused slavery? Freedom is so very internal to us, so very close and heart-like to us, that you cannot really ever go away from freedom. What most of us, however, do is something very smart. we do not find freedom sufficient. We do not find even absolute freedom sufficient. So we add slavery to our freedom. You see, we are quite smart, intelligent, and developed people, aren't we? We are the most evolved species on this earth. So we must do more than what the rest of the sentient world does. And what is it extra that we do? We add slavery to freedom. We envelop our internal slavery with freedom. Even though our core is free, we surround ourselves with stupid bondages. Because we must do something more, because we are human beings, because we must add and grow and progress. That's the internal logic. And then, when we feel suffocated because we have unnecessarily shrouded ourselves with nonsense, when we feel suffocated, then we demand freedom. Do we really need to demand freedom, or do we need to get rid of slavery? We need to see how in our daily 24-hour life, in various ways, we determinedly latch on to slavery. Freedom is organic. Freedom is lively. Slavery has no life or power or fuel of its own. Slavery exists because we supply energy to it. Without our support, no bondage can exist. Freedom can exist even without our support because it is innate, existential. Slavery is not innate. Slavery is man-made, artificial. We invite slavery. Would you de-invite slavery? Would you rescind the invitation? That is the boldness needed of us. That is the wisdom demanded of us. Get rid of all that which you have unnecessarily stuffed your life with. You don't need to acquire freedom from somewhere. You never really lost it. It is there. It is just that you have freedom and much more. That much more is your load, your baggage, your curse. Drop it. And that much more takes a lot of energy and effort to sustain. It's not worth it. Give it up. Your energy is precious. It must go into beautiful directions. You must not invest it in areas that just don't help you. And life is limited. You have limited time to invest. You have limited money to invest. You have limited energy to invest. Why must you invest it towards your own destruction? The scriptures tell us that if man has one enemy, it is man himself, not the other man. Man himself.